Hi everybody, welcome back to Mando Lessons. In this lesson I just want to do a quick little talk about planting versus not planting. And here we're talking about your right hand. Some people will plant either a pinky or sometimes a couple fingers on the top of the instrument, sometimes on a pick guard, so they don't kind of mar up the finish of their instrument. I personally am not a fan of planting. And that said, just as a quick disclaimer, there are amazing mandolin players who do plant. It's not the end of the world if you do plant and it's not affecting your technique. Then by all means keep doing what you're doing if you like the sound you're getting and you're not kind of hurting yourself in the process. But I personally have found that not planting my right hand on the instrument or on the pick guard has really improved my technique, made me more comfortable while playing the instrument, and kind of got a better sound out of the instrument. I just wanted to talk a little bit about why that is. So, if you plant, I think maybe one of the main pros of planting is it gives you a nice connection. It can make it really easy and natural to sort of know where your strings are on the instrument, because you've got these fingers and then you're just kind of widening and closing up that gap. Like, here's the G strings, here's the D, here's the A, here's the E, and it can feel a little disorienting if you're used to planting to kind of get that loose fist, get your fingers out. If you feel very floaty over the instrument, and it's like I don't know where my strings are. I don't know kind of where everything is that I used to know where it was, because I used to have that kind of waypoint right there. But I think one of the cons of planting is it affects your technique in a way that then transfers into your tone production. So if I plant, just sort of check out all of the muscles in my right arm and wrist and fingers, and sort of see what goes on when I play. So what you might notice is I'm really kind of relying a lot more on my wrist, and my elbow isn't moving as much, because my elbow is a little more kind of attached. Unless I'm going to be doing a lot of this, my elbow is going to be a little more locked up. And people will lock up different muscles kind of depending on how they plant and how they've sort of learned or taught themselves to play. So I've seen people do kind of both, where they kind of lock their wrist and have more of this motion. But ultimately, I think planting does lock up something, whether it's your wrist or your elbow. And if I play without planting, you can see right off the bat, like there's just muscles that you can see. When I plant, there's muscles that you can see that are kind of working harder, especially kind of right in here, that don't need to work that hard and aren't being kind of pinched at one end or the other. All the muscles in our arms are connected, and if you can kind of stay relaxed right through the whole chain of events and kind of muscle firings, you'll be a more comfortable musician. And if you're more comfortable, you can focus more on kind of tone production rather than fighting the instrument. And you may say, well, that might be true, but I can't be precise over the instrument. And as someone who has planted, I was never a pinky planter, but I used to plant kind of my palm. So this kind of goes for palm planting too. Like sometimes people will really push down hard behind the bridge, and that really does lock up your elbow and makes your wrist kind of do all the work. But it can feel a little disorienting up over here if you're just free floating. There's a couple things. One is, I think you can just get used to that feeling of floating. we do it all the time in various tasks throughout our life. And I don't think we need, it can feel comfortable to have that waypoint of a finger planted or of your wrist planted on the instrument. But you look at a person like Sam Bush, who really just kind of he is not a planter, and he does a lot of arm movement, and I always like look at him like, wow, how can he be precise? But he also, I think, had he broke his arm in some way that kind of limited his range of motion somewhere. I don't know if it's in his elbow or somewhere else in his arm, but he's kind of learned from that to play without planting. I don't think he planted before that, but you can sort of see in his playing, like, what it looks disorienting to me, just like trying to watch Sam Bush do what he does, and he's amazing. But it sort of taught me, like, wow, like, he doesn't use that waypoint. He uses, like, he's almost like the floatiest right arm mandolin player I've seen. He's just super kind of comfortable. Tim OBrien is the same way. And, really nice, relaxed arm that it just kind of translates into really great tone production. So I think if you practice for, a couple minutes every time you pick up the instrument of just nice and slow, not planting, it's going to feel sloppy at first, but you can learn to just sort of get that plant out of your system. You do have your right arm. I've got an armrest here, but even if you don't have an armrest, you do have your right kind of forearm on the instrument as a waypoint. Also, what I do sometimes is just brush lightly behind the bridge. I'm not planting and then using my wrist, but it's more of a... more of just like a light brush that gives my right hand and fingers a little more information as to what string I'm on. So I hope this helps. If you have thoughts about planting, whether you plant or not, if you feel strongly one way or the other, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Again, there's no number one like right way to do it. Everybody does it a little different, and there's nothing, as long as you're not hurting yourself or kind of sacrificing your music from your technique, it's all good. But I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on the matter. So, thanks for watching. Check out mandolessons.com for more lessons. I've got tons of free stuff up there. It's all free. Tunes, songs, more technique, beginner series, double stops, you name it. It's all over there. And if it's not there, it's probably coming soon. So, thanks so much, and hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.